Here's a video that I showed how to load my Arctic Fox 811 truck camper. I actually originally shot this video about 7 years ago, and I decided to re-edit it and add just a little bit of voiceover. If you hear a bunch of crackling and popping in the audio of when I'm holding the camera, it's because I was using a GoPro, and that was a really early model GoPro, and those cameras would pick up any kind of noise of you actually even just holding the camera, so it's kind of annoying, and I apologize for that. Tonight's the night to put the camper on the truck. First step, swing out brackets. They're both swung out. Cord. I always store my power cord on the jack, that way I don't forget it. There was one time where I did a quick local trip and I left the power cord off. Here you can see that I have the camper resting on a bunch of lumber. This is how I store the camper when it's off the truck for any length of time, which typically I take the camper off the truck during the winter time, and then sometimes occasionally use my truck for other things. So this is actually how Northwood Manufacturing recommends to store your camper when it's off the truck for any length of time. As you can see here, I have 3 stacks of lumber, one at the front, one at the back, and then one approximately in the middle of the camper. I've had my remote for the wireless, the wireless remote for the jack stored in here. Sometimes I just leave the cable plugged in when I operate the jacks. Before I actually start to raise the camper up with the jacks, I do one final check to make sure my jacks are swung out. We are ready to go. I store the camper set down on some stacks of lumber. I've raised the camper up about 4 inches. I'll go ahead and pull my stacks of lumber out and put them aside for storage. I've got a piece of wood here. It's wrapped in indoor-outdoor carpet. It's 2 2x6s stacked. This is the width. I think they're probably cut down to about 4.5 inches or so. That's my spacer that I use to keep the camper off the front of the truck bed. In a little bit here I'll show you why I have that spacer. I'm going to raise the camper up some. I like to have this area right here higher than this. I've got it pretty well centered. I use my fist as a guide and my hand. Kind of hard to see in the dark there, but I just about can get my hand through. And then at the back, I like to have about an inch of clearance there. Again, the lighting is really bad. I checked all my clearances on each side at the front and the back, and one thing that my dealer told me that you can do to make some final adjustments, either forward, back, or side to side, you don't want to do it a whole lot, but for example, I needed the camper to come forward just a little bit, so instead of backing the truck up and running the risk of backing it up too far, you can lower the front two jacks and the camper will kind of tilt forward just a little bit and eliminate any kind of a gap. Same thing side to side. If you wanted the camper to shift to one side or the other, the side you wanted it to shift to, you would drop those two jacks just a little bit. So when I do that, I'm only making very, very minimal amount of adjustments, like maybe to give myself a ½ inch more clearance, and to do that I'll just tap the jacks about like this, and that usually shifts the camper just enough to do what I needed it to do. One thing I just realized that I forgot to do was engage my lower torque lift stable loads. So I'm not going to drop the camper down all the way yet until I take care of that. As I lower the jacks, I kind of do a walk around and make sure everything looks okay. I always keep an eye on the feet of the jack to make sure that they all stay in contact with the ground before the truck camper actually rests on the truck, because I have one jack that retracts just a little bit faster than the others. Alrighty, all of my jacks are up off of the ground, so I'm gonna double check my clearances here. We're good there. We're good back here. And not bad there. It might be off center just a little bit. Yeah, it is. I've got more clearance here because I can get my hand down in there. So I'm gonna raise it up again. When I have a situation like this where I need to make just very minor adjustments to the centering, I lift the camper up off the truck bed just maybe about 2 inches and then use the jacks to kind of shift from side to side or front to back.